Hey everybody, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches, and welcome to my sewing room. So today is Tuesday, February 16th. It is Mardi Gras. There are no parades. There's nothing going on this year due to lockdown situations. We're not in total lockdown, but we do have a no crowds of over 20 and mask mandate going on here in Louisiana. So no parades because people. So my husband is off because of the holiday, and so he is home in the dining room working on physics problems because that just is something he enjoys doing. And my youngest son, our middle child, is home. He is in school, and normally they do not get off for Mardi Gras, but they shut down school for 2 days due to the ice that was approaching, and so he is here with us. I think he'd rather spend time alone in his room than in an apartment with 4 other guys, so he came hang out with mom and dad, and you know, mom cooks, so there's that's going on. So anyway, we had a nice little ice storm that came by yesterday, and it started a little bit Sunday, but it came by yesterday, and you know, we don't get ice, we don't get snow, we get floods, we get hurricanes. We're prepared for that kind of stuff. We're prepared for power outages due to downed trees, and we have trucks available for clearing out drains and ditches that are flooding, and our crews are ready for that, but they're not prepared for ice. So we hunkered down yesterday and got a little dusting of snow. It was really pretty. I have a picture posted on my Instagram of our yard, but I'm going to post an aerial that somebody took down of downtown. Beautiful. It's really pretty. It's just a light dusting, but it's of the Catholic church in the area, St. John's Cathedral, which is the oldest Catholic church in our area. So anyway, but we had fun. We lit a fire, made a big pot of soup, and we just pretty much watched videos. My husband played golf, and I stitched. So anyway, I want to thank all of my new subscribers for coming. I appreciate y'all being here. I thank everyone for your comments, letting me know how you got here. It's good to hear people are showing up and deciding to stay, and that makes me happy. So anyway, so what have I been stitching? Well, this week I, of course, stitched on Pandemic, and this is Pandemic, and this is the spot I'm working on right there. Last week I had started this pink area. I finished it up, worked on this blue, and I started the basket. So that's what I've done with Pandemic, and I am dreading this giant bouquet that I'm going to be stitching, but I've decided to use up all the little bits and bobs that I have floating around from all of those bobbins from the 90s that I want to use up. If you don't know, I'm using a sampler case of floss that my mom had gotten for me back in the 90s. It's a DMC sampler case. So I have a lot of little pieces here and there so that I want to use up for these flowers so that I can cross off those numbers on my chart and move on to some newer colors. So that's what I'm going to do for this big bouquet, is I'm going to use up all those little pinks and yellows and blues that I have for the flowers. I'm still enjoying it, still enjoy stitching it. I'm glad I'm throwing new things into the mix because it's allowing me to take a break from Pandemic, because it is such a, to me it's intense. You know, watching your spaces, all the little bits and all these little borders and everything, so it's nice to have taken a break. I did all of this bottom part monogamous. I wasn't stitching anything else, and I think that's when I finally realized I need a break. So that's Pandemic. And then there is the Riola's Stitch Along that I'm working on right here, Feline Family. My daughter, I sent her a picture and she's like, "Is it done?" I was like, "No." But she was excited because she finally saw a cat's face. That was my goal, was to work on his face and hopefully get his head done, but I've not finished his head just yet. I went back again and filled in a bunch of little single stitch spaces that I had left, but you know, he's got a little face now, y'all. Look at him. I'm gonna work on the back stitching, and I don't think I'll get it done today, but I'm hoping to finish a page soon. I'd like to finish this first page and get it done and move on to something besides a kitten on a bench. There's I think one more kitten and one more cat, maybe two more kittens. Two more kittens and a cat, the mama. So that is Realist Feline Family. Still enjoying it, which is a shocker for me. So over the ice storm weekend, I worked on Pinker and Pumpkin's newest chart, and she's just cranking them out, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with her. But it is Dorothy May's Spring Cottage, and I keep wanting to say Aunt Dot's house, and I think that's because that's what she called her aunt. I'm not sure. So this is Dorothy May's Spring Cottage, and I decided Dorothy May needed to live in a Pepto-Bismol house. Isn't that just the brightest, hottest pink? I love it. I think it stands out a little bit more. It kind of goes with the brightness of my house and the colors of my house. I enjoyed this. I did. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I started stitching this beautiful little basket, and it had the flower, the stems all done, and had it stitched in this brown, and realized I forgot to give the house a roof. So I decided to keep the little basket part that was already stitched and just give it a brown roof and a tan basket. I wanted to give it a gray roof, but that didn't happen. My husband said he likes the brown. So Dorothy May's Spring Cottage. Isn't it pretty? She does fabulous little smalls, and I really like them. They're my, I usually have something planned for a weekend stitch, and then she comes off with something. I'm like, oop, doing that instead. So I'm hoping to finish them soon. I have an idea of how I want to finish them, and I'm just I'm working on that. So I'm going to try to finish them, at least finish one or two of them this week. I'd like to finish the chickens, the chicken one I just did last week, the Valentine chickens, and this one, and get them hung up. I know it's still February, so I figure, it's Valentine month. I can keep Valentine's Day stuff up, no problem. So tomorrow's Ash Wednesday. If you're not part of the Catholic or Christian community, don't ask me what it means, but it's Ash Wednesday. So I'll be starting His Name is Jesus for Lent. Right here. Ash Wednesday is, I grew up Catholic, but I don't quite remember everything about it, so you'll have to forgive me. But I do plan on doing that for Lent. It's going to be a Wednesday stitch. Every Wednesday I'm going to stitch on this. I'm hoping to get a good bit of it done. I'll be doing it in red. She has a red example right here, so I'll be doing it in reds. And again, I will be doing it using thrift store floss, which is what I used for this. Right here, what I used for Dorothy May. If you follow me, you probably figured that out already, but I did use thrift store floss for this. And so that's what that is. And it's 14 count Ada that I coffee tea dyed. And then I decided, I was looking around at some things going on, and I enjoy looking at everybody's sampler walls. And I decided I wanted to do one, but like I said, we have a good bit of wall space, but I didn't, well, first of all, I don't want to stitch huge samplers. That would just take me forever. So I decided to do a mini sampler wall, and I decided to do them in all red. So I went searching the internet looking for mini samplers. I found a couple of freebies, and so I'm going to start with this one. It's La Di Da Freebie Alphabet with Hair. It's just a little ABC sampler with 2 hearts and a bunny. I figured that would be appropriate, so I'm going to do it in red. And then I'm going to use my thrift store floss, and I have some linen and some even weave. I'll probably end up using small pieces and whatnot. So I'm going to do a mini sampler wall, like mini samplers in reds. And I was watching Mama Loves You GB, and she mentioned red samplers, and I was like, okay, that must be the thing. Red samplers. I love red. I've always loved red. My first car was red. it's a color I've always loved. In fact, my mom, I remember mentioning something to her about we were getting a green car. She goes, but you always liked red. I'm like, I know, but you know, it was a Jeep and I didn't want it too flashy. So anyway, so she said I've loved red since I was a kid. She tried to get me to like green, but it's probably my least favorite color in all of colordom. So anyway, so I will be starting my mini sampler wall. Hopefully, so what I'm gonna do, okay, so that's my plan. My plan is on Mondays, which is Mystery Mondays, when I stitch the linen and threads mystery. On the Mondays when I finished it already, I completed it, I'm gonna start this sampler and work on these little samplers on the Mondays where I don't have to work on the mystery. So that is my plan. Now you remember last week I talked about, I feel like I'm rushing today. My kid, you know, with everybody home, I just kind of, I feel like I need a rush. I should sit in here and talk forever just to avoid being out there. I really should. So my mini tarts, how I asked for some ideas of what to stitch. If you think of something extra, let me know. I found 2 things on the internet that I really liked. The first thing I found was With Thy Needle and Thread by Brenda Gervais, and they're called Holiday Hoopless. And I found these. Now this one right here I found on eBay, but it's not showing up on her website. And then she's got so she's got Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July, and then Christmas and Valentine's Day. So I thought those would be really cute. You know, I'm stitching from stash. I am allowing myself to buy patterns if I sell something on eBay. And I sold 3 boxes of fabric on eBay. So I'm like, ooh, I could buy some patterns now. So I looked at those, and they're like $10 a pattern, which, you know, I'm not opposed to supporting designers at all. I'm not. But you know, it's $50 plus fabric plus, and so I'm just kind of like, I'll kind of wait and see. And then I found Hands-On Design perennial pinwheels. Now these I love. Aren't they pretty? I mean, look at them. And they do have the seasonal ones right here. And there's 3 different sizes, but I thought, you know, if I used a different count fabric, I could, you know, make them bigger or smaller to fit in here. So I don't know. So what's your vote? What would you do? Would you do the Hands-On Design, which is very pretty, or the equally pretty With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais? What do you think? What's your vote? What would you do? I like them both. I like them both. And I do have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tarts. So, I mean, technically, I could do the 5 by Brenda Gervais and have some left over to do the others. It wouldn't hurt. And I could probably find some more of these. No telling. Probably not for 99 cents for the stack, but I could find some more. So, anyway. So, that's my plans, my whips. And now we're going to talk a little bit about, one more plan. I didn't take it out, so that's why I didn't say it. So, my mom's birthday is March 19th. She would be 75 years old. She passed away 3 years ago after her 72nd birthday. And pretty much the way my dad did things was he gave me all of my mom's stuff and my brother all of his stuff. But my brother and I have, you know, bartered back and forth for some things. There are a few things that my brother got that were my mom's. There are a few things that I got that were my dad's. So it's just kind of how they did things. You know, he got all my brother got all my dad's guns. I got all of mom's sewing stuff. So my mom collected the 12 Days of Christmas, and so I got a ton of ornaments and dishes and glasses and quilts and whatnot. And I wanted to do a Quaker, and so it's been one of those things that I wanted to do. So I think I've shown this before, the Joyeux Noël. And I'm going to be starting this on her birthday, March 19th. Not sure what days I'm going to do it. It'll probably just be something I pick up every now and then. Maybe I'll set aside the 19th of every month to do it. And do that in honor of her. But I'm looking for a blue, gray, even weave. Her favorite color was blue. And so I think a blue-gray would just look really, 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 really pretty behind this. I found a piece of even weave at Hobby Lobby, but it's too, unless I did 1/1, it's too small. So if anybody knows, I like to do an even weave. I think I really, really want to do an even weave. So if anybody knows of a blue-gray even weave that I could do this one, that's in stock. I'm having trouble finding one that's in stock. I would appreciate it because I really, really want to do that. Really, really. So I mention a lot about shopping thrift store floss. Oh, before I do that, hold on. Let me go. You need to go see Sarcy Girl, SarceyGurl, here on YouTube and watch her video on dyeing floss. She is the one that gave us the 2020 pandemic sampler, not the one that I'm doing, but another one. And in her instructions for that sampler, she shows how to dye the fabric. And it's like using this mishmash of colors that honestly I thought would have turned brown, but it didn't. It turned out this beautiful ghoulish blue-gray color. It was really, really pretty. Well, she's got a new design on her Etsy store, and I'll link her Instagram page with her freebie, and I'll link her Instagram store. I'll try to link the video. But she talks about kind of over dyeing DMC when you don't have the right color that you want. So I am going to give it a shot. I'm going to take some of that thrift store floss that I have, probably use the JP coats since it's newer and fresher, and see about dyeing that and seeing if I could come up with some more muted colors versus the brightness of the floss as it is now. So speaking of thrift store floss, I was picking out some floss for the Aunt Dorothy's. I see Aunt Dorothy. I don't know why. Dorothy May's spring house. And I was winding up some black on a bobbin, and this happened. It just broke. And it's very soft, and I thought, ooh, this feels so good. And then it did that, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the first time I've had a floss do this. I've never had one, so it's going in the trash after this video is being made. So I have some tips on using thrift store floss. The thrift store floss that I have, I've looked at labels, and I mean, they're priced 3 cents, 5 cents, and a lot of them are off brands that I've never heard of, but I'm sure at one time they were decent brands. And so I kind of I looked around the internet, and I found a couple of tips on reviving old floss. Now, some of the floss that I use, like this right here, that I started with my Summer Breeze by Paula Vaughn. This is 25 years old, and it's still good. It's DMC. It's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's been stored well. But you know, some of my floss I know is probably from the 70s, if not 60s, and further back. And I'm going to show you some proof of that in a little bit. But I looked up some tips on reviving it, and there are a couple things you can do. One is to open up the skein, make a big loop out of it, you know, open it up into one big loop, and put it in your crisper drawer of your refrigerator. The cool air, kind of moist air, will help. Another was to stick it in the freezer. And then the third was to put it over a steaming kettle. Basically boil some water and just kind of, I would use a stick and hold it over the steam, and that'll kind of refresh it. And so those are some things you can do to refresh your floss. I've only had problems with this one, and then another one that tangled up really, really easy. Like, I think the longest strand I could use was like 12 inches before it really started tangling up, and it was really, probably needs to be refreshened by putting it, you know, in the freezer or whatever. So I think I'm going to try it out. I'm going to take a couple of my skeins that are questionable, and I'm going to go ahead and stick them in the freezer and see what happens. But I've really not had a problem using old floss. I know I've read some articles where they're like, oh, it can be discolored and you know, you don't know it is gone. And there are people that, and I've thought of doing this too, that have washed theirs because, again, you don't know how it's been stored. You know, if it was in a house with a smoker, I've not smelled anything funky on these flosses that I've purchased. They've all been okay. They haven't smelled, you know, mothy or smoky or any musty, that kind of smell. They didn't have an odor to them. Not like I go around sniffing them, you know, but I haven't like noticed anything when I open the bag where I go, ooh, you know. But you can wash it, and you again open it up in a big loop, and then I would tie it with some broken floss, tie it up the ends, and then I would just put it in a little bit of water, a shallow pan with a little bit of water and dish soap, and then rinse it real good and just lay it out to dry. If you feel like it might be kind of gross or dirty or what have you, that's something you can do just to kind of revive it. Washing it's probably good anyway. I'm gonna end up washing my pieces, so just some thoughts. You know, things that I've been thinking about doing, so I thought I'd throw that out there. If you're one of these people that has decided to, in fact, you know, if you decided to venture into the thrift store floss world. So I wanted to show y'all my floss. I went through a bag of things that I hadn't gone through. Usually if it's a full skein, I pull it out, or if it's a nicely little balled up piece of floss, I'll pull it out and I'll, you know, reball it or whatever. But there are these pieces like this that this person had. There was also a huge knot I posted on my Instagram about me going through it, and everybody's like, you're crazy. So they're wrapped around little newspapers, little scraps of newspaper. And so I decided to open one up, and just my heart was just so excited when I saw the ad. Y'all, it is for a rag bundle equaling up to 16 to 18 yards. It says a surprise bundle filled with the very cottons you rug makers appreciate most. Right here. Now, if you're a quilter and you're out there and you make quilts, you know that 85 cents is quite the deal. Not only that, but this would be amazing for string quilts. Now, I thought I set it aside, and I guess I didn't. Oh, look, there it is. Hang on. Again, if you are a quilter and you know Moda actually sells these. This right here. It's called a scrap bag. It's the offcuts with the selvages, which is what this is. And I bought them so that I could use them for string quilts. Right here. I was able to get a good deal. So it's kind of neat. It's really neat, these little ads. I thought that was fun. And then on this side, you can get monsoon percale sheets. And it's funny because they're all flat because they didn't have fitted sheets back then. And so they're sold by dimensions. And then on the back of this one was more unbleached sheeting. 5 yards to make 2 sheets. 5 yards. Look at that, y'all. For $1. So I want to do something with these. I'm probably going to lay these on my copier and copy them. I haven't found a date on any of them, but I haven't really looked. I'm doing one right now. I'm going to see if this one might have a date. But I think I'm just going to make copies of them and make like a little collage-y type thing with all the copies and frame it, because it's just really a neat little, you know, step back into time. Nope, this is more, oh, it's a famous Sears sheets. Look at that, y'all. And then this one is comforter. Fabric for comforters. Apparently it's a Sears ad, so I don't know, it might be a Sears catalog too that she tore up. Here, I'm gonna open another one because you got me curious. I'm blaming y'all. No, this is just more ads. This is wool. So I'm thinking this might have been a catalog actually, because it's all fabric stuff, you know, sewing stuff, crafty stuff. So anyway, so that's my day today. I'm gonna go through these and see if there's anything interesting, but I thought this was kind of cool. Right here, Clark's. It's not the back of a bobbin, so I'm not quite sure what it is. But anyway, so that's my video today. So if you think, give a vote on what you think I should use these for. Should I go with holiday hoopla or the perennial pinwheels? Let me know. I haven't done much sewing, not much quilting, but hopefully in finishing these little houses and miniatures and stuff I've made, I can get some finishing done and be able to display. I told my husband what I want to do. I gave him my idea, and he liked it, and so he is helping me find the things that I need to complete it. And so we'll see how that goes. But y'all have a good day. If y'all are involved in this winter weather we have, stay warm. We're scheduled for some rolling blackouts, so I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. It's starting to warm up. The sun's out. It's melted the ice on the roof, and so that's dripping off into the slush, which we're still, woke up this morning, it was 9 degrees. 9. No. I don't like that. My son's in Nashville, and he was in 6 degrees, and it's been snowing for the past 2 days. I don't think we've ever had that. The whole time we lived in Nashville for 14 years, I don't think we ever had anything like that. So he's up there, and I asked him if he had to bring his girlfriend to work, and he said no, she didn't have school. She's doing it all online. So he's not driving in that, so that's good. But y'all stay warm, fix a big pot of soup, chili, whatever you eat when it's cold. We eat gumbo, but I made soup. I'll probably end up making gumbo tomorrow because it's still going to be fairly cold. But by next week, when we'll be in the 70s, so it'll be a lot better than it is now. I don't like the cold at all. So y'all have a good day. Thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week and talking to you in the comments. Bye.